Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sales versus Marketing. I'm here with Zen.
Hello. How's it going?
So sales and marketing, they are the two most important functions for driving business growth. In this live series, we'll look at the relationship between the two and how they do and do not work together. And we'll also be, looking at, in everyone's interest to get them working more effectively. So today, you see her here. I'm delighted to say I have a very special guest, Zen Lenon, all the way over the pond on the west coast of the US. Zen, first of all, thank you for agreeing to come on the Sales versus Marketing show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Let's do this.
Great to have you. I'd also like to thank everyone who's joining live, not just on my LinkedIn Live, but also on Zen's, because we're doing a little bit of an experiment with trying to get as many platforms hooked up. But also, to those who are watching the replay, thanks for coming along as well and watching the replay. So whether you're live or on the replay, if you can basically ask us some questions, and we'll, do our best to get to all your questions. So Zen, if you could just basically introduce yourself. I know that you've been involved in sales, business growth for nearly 15 years. So if you can tell the listeners, a little bit about your background.
Yes, thank you for having me again. I'm really excited. My name is Zen. I'm the founder of Close One. I also work full-time at localize.com as an enterprise account executive. I've been in sales since 2007, 2008. My first job in sales is yelp.com when it was a small startup. Been there since 2012. We went IPO, so I was very lucky to experience that very early on. And then moved into a first sales hire with tintup.com, and a lot of experience there as well because they embraced the concept of marketing. They got recently acquired in 2018 for 30 mil. And then PandaDoc. So I'm representing PandaDoc right now. I was also an enterprise AE there, and I'm happy to share some perspectives today from the sales point of view.
Great to have you again. Just for people, IPO is initial public offering, just for, to try and de-jargonize some stuff, because not everyone watching might know that. Zen, in your experience, have you been in situations where you found that marketing were not giving the support that you, as in a salesperson, needed?
So, from my experience, I can share like 3 or 4 different company experiences, and
don't mention names.
Yeah, I won't mention names, sure. So like sales, if you really think about it, sales tend to be more people oriented. They have to sell themselves first, whereas marketing, they're thinking mostly about the product itself. Sales is more ROI oriented, and then if you think about the marketing perspective, they have to work long term, build links, SEO, content building, on and on and on, ranking. So companies that I worked at, marketing always gave me support, always. And if you think about alignment, no, really, from like a leadership's perspective, this is the truth.
It's okay. They're not all working.
No, I think it's because I'm so outspoken.
Right.
I'm very vocal.
They had to listen to you.
Well, it's not that. I like to work outside of scope because I get bored easily. And so I'm the type to, like, if I do sales, let's say at Yelp, 200 calls per day, right? I did that for 4 years. I got pretty bored. And then Tintup, it was a very different experience because they combined marketing with sales, where the salespeople was able to blog and create campaigns, and we had more autonomy. And so this is where I learned how to build my personal brand. Actually, it was the first time I've ever blogged because there was only 4 of us, the founders and myself. And so my paradigm completely changed, and I was constantly busy. I kept myself busy. And that was back in 2013, 13, 14, right? Before the whole social selling thing started to come into play. But what I do think is that leadership from that perspective, what they should really think of in order to align sales and marketing. What if marketing got comped for closed deals? Because if you think about sales, right, like they're all about ROI, like right now, and some salespeople they only get paid all commission. So at Yelp, I only
Yeah.
got paid all commission, 100% commission. Whereas the marketing team, they probably got a nice salary, and they're just they didn't have to worry
No
as much.
incentivization. No
So
incentivization.
to exactly, and so to align that, what if marketing got comped? Let's say, for instance, 6 months bonus on closed deals, that leads that were generated from the landing pages that they created, the SEO rank words that they worked hard for. Then slowly but surely, the paradigms are, everyone is seeing the same vision. What is the vision? Oh, the vision is to grow 10% month over month, 20% month over month, and then break that down into the top funnel versus the bottom funnel. So that's my perspective on support. But I've always gotten support, and the only reason for that is because I'm very vocal about participating. I love to collaborate. So
Yeah. I think having it is interesting that only one aspect of marketing and sales, get measured, based on how much they're earning, because salary wise, as you say, marketing get paid no matter really what they're doing. The worst case scenario for them is they lose their job, which obviously is not great. I've had a lot of different experiences, working with between sales and marketing, because I actually, when I'm sort of looking to generate business, I can actually get introduced via marketing or sales. They could be the main point of contact for me. One incident that comes to my mind, you may have had a sort of perfect experience in inverted commas, but I don't think that's the case for everyone. I remember working with a couple in a sales team, which is I normally work with salespeople, and when I asked whether marketing have got resources we could use for a particular campaign we were working on, the response was so telling: nothing. He then went on to rip into marketing about the leads that had been told to follow up with and how poor they were, and a total waste of his time and his team's time. His colleague, who was working directly below him, said there was no demonstration at all that the leads had any interest in the product, so no qualification at all. The funny thing about that story is, what he went on to tell me was completely unrelated to my question. So obviously he just wanted to sound off. So there really is sometimes real tension between the two teams, because a lot of time can be wasted, which is not great for anyone in the team. Having to follow up on poor or no opportunities. So yeah, I think you've lived a sheltered life. Perhaps.
I told you I'm sheltered. I'm in this really weird bubble that I create for myself intentionally. But with the misalignment, I mean, so there's two ways to look at it. The way I see it is like from the leadership perspective and from the ground up. Like, I'm a foot soldier, right? Like, I always think about it from sales is always probing, they're always qualifying, they're always discovering needs.
Yeah.
Whereas marketing, they're all about storytelling. Sales, it's more intimate, right? It's more direct. Like, I am building a relationship with you right now to help you get to the next level. Whereas marketing, it's like it's scaled to the masses. You're talking to the masses, to an ideal client profile.
Yeah. Well, I was going to butt in there, but it has to be targeted, because otherwise you waste money. It's all very well, creating brand awareness, but it's going to cost you a lot of money if you're not targeted enough. And I think that's the problems that I come across is people don't actually narrow it down enough and try and talk to too many different people with irrelevant messages.
Yeah, and in addition to that too, like with the message, that might be the misalignment. the messaging itself. Like, think of the two paradigms of sales and marketing. They're completely different. They're thinking of it from a completely different perspective.
Yeah,
Masses versus intimacy. You have your sales, they're literally flirting with clients every single day. Like, it's a flirting, like trying to get people to like you so that they can eventually like your product as well over the competition. And then I have to figure out if we have chemistry, right? Like,
yeah,
off the bat, it's so close. Whereas marketing, they're all about attraction. Like, they work out. They're like, they look good. They have fresh threads. They're the ones that make people come to them. That's called inbound marketing. And so, two very different perspectives. And so, how do you make them come together? Well, let me ask you this question, right? Can you attract and not be able to flirt? And vice versa, the other way around. Can you flirt with someone and not be able to be not be attractive? So that's a question for the whole, what's more important, sales or marketing? So these are the things that, like, I think leadership has to think about when it comes to aligning these two
yeah. Well,
departments.
I think leadership need to do more to actually bring them together. And I think it really depends on size of company as well. In smaller companies, which maybe you've worked in, communication is so much easier because you don't have these massive different departments with lots of different salespeople, and the message gets diluted. And I've worked for lots of different size of companies, and I think there's a sweet spot. I think there's a sweet spot of company size. If you're too small, everyone's trying to do lots of things, and sometimes there's not enough focus. Bigger companies, communication can be really bad, and then you have a scenario where marketing are ignoring helping sales. So I the sort of the best teammanship, if that's a word, is in sort of medium-sized companies where they've got enough of a marketing department, enough of a sales department to actually have enough bodies to actually make sure the strategy is right at the top. The goals and objectives of campaigns are right. There's processes in place, and there's performance metrics for everyone, and most importantly, there's communication. So people know, people know what's happening from the sales side and from the marketing side. Sales telling marketing, feedback from the campaign. In that instance, they're not qualified leads. We need to work on that because we're just wasting time. You're wasting money on, your marketing efforts. So, it's communication between, is probably the most important bit.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Communication. That's why I take it upon myself to connect with marketers all the time. Like, I have great relationships with Dan from PandaDoc, Bethany from PandaDoc, Inga from Localize. Like, I love them. Like, I'm no, seriously, I'm so involved. Like I said, I always get bored. But if you think of bigger companies, right? If we're gonna go to the topic of like company sizes,
Yeah.
there's also like there's so many ways to look at this, like industry, size of company. You're right. The business model, B2B versus B2C, C2C. It the importance of the marketing versus sales, it will change. For instance, I don't if you crave something, right? Marketing is more important. So for instance, I'll wake up in the morning and I will crave coffee, and I will want Phil's coffee because of the brand, because it's from San Francisco and I want to represent San Francisco, right? So commodity.
What about Edinburgh?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. But when it comes to SaaS enterprise, you don't wake up in the morning and say, "Oh, I crave enterprise. I crave a document solution." No, you wake up and probably say something like, "Oh, I have to work on this Excel sheet all over again." And so it's a salesperson's job. That's when they become more important than marketing, because it's a salesperson's job to change their paradigm, to show them like that PandaDoc is better than DocuSign, right? Like, why is it better? Well, first of all, I'm going to give you 100% customer service, see the sales side again, and then I'm going to show you all the things that are like advantage, disadvantage, benefits, pros, cons, like, and I will do all my research to like compare and contrast the difference between our competitor and your needs, your requirements. So if we're looking at size, I think with smaller companies, direct sales is more important because sales cures all. When you have more resources,
Yeah.
and you want to grow, then marketing becomes important because exponential growth becomes a critical part of becoming a unicorn. So those companies that I've worked for, Yelp, PandaDoc, Localize, these guys are going to be unicorns. Like Yelp is definitely unicorn, PandaDoc unicorn, Localize going to be a unicorn for sure, 100%. But what I mean by that is the sales and marketing, they figured it out. They figured out that sales is critical because I want that linear growth month over month, but then I also want that exponential growth. So I'm going to make sure that my salespeople, they do marketing, and my marketing people understand my salespeople, and they know that, and that's why they have this very collaborative flow. So maybe I'm just coming from a perspective of these particular brands.
What size is Localize? You know, from our marketing and sales, department size.
So when I first started, we had three salespeople, four salespeople. Gosh, they just grew so much. They're over 100 people now. I don't know how many people they had total when I started last year, March 2020, but now definitely over 100. But
Right.
I can tell you this: the sales and marketing people, they collaborate as in all of our sales folks are encouraged to blog, are encouraged to go on LinkedIn, are encouraged to have a voice, to social sell.
Yeah.
It's fun, and we hop on these brainstorm meetings and we talk about what else can we improve, how else can we stream, how else can we build our brand, personal brand, ergo
Right.
product brand, right?
That's refreshing because I think there's this kickback from companies where employees are trying to build their personal brand, but I suppose what companies might be worried about is things that are off message, and they don't want out in the sort of internet if it's off message. So how do you actually address that? I presume marketing, do they give you sort of scripts and messaging and tools?
No, so when I first got started at Localize, I made a video, a YouTube video, out of scope, and I published a YouTube video on how to choose a TMS. And I wanted to own a keyword, which is enterprise localization expert. If you Google enterprise localization expert today, you will see me as a localization expert. But the thing is, I wasn't an expert in the beginning. But by doing that, I was learning once, and that by doing my research, and then learning again by sharing it with the people, and then that action that I took, I don't actually know if our company was okay with it or anything. We were so small back then, but I do know that the video got shared on Slack. And everyone liked it, and they were saying this is cool, and so to me that was a yes, like keep going. I didn't have anyone saying, hey Zen, your messaging is bad, like stop doing this. And if that is the case, if you go outside of scope for your company and you try to build them up in your own way, in your own voice, and your company says, hey, this is not good, maybe you're in the wrong company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's if they're wanting total control of you as an employee, because these days, I think sales has changed quite a bit as well. I think it's modernizing. That it is about getting personalities across, whereas before it was all about scripts and techniques rather than being authentic and actually genuinely trying to help people, which I think certainly works better than trying to bombard people with pressure selling.
Oh yeah, that's right. Nobody, like Shanae says, right? Nobody likes to get their like product. Nobody, like, sales gets a bad rap. Like, I feel bad for my people. We do, because we work so hard. Just
Some of you
what we
deserve
do
it.
is no, there's a difference, because okay, like, we get compared to the used salesman. Was it, yeah, used car salesman?
Yeah.
So much, and that's the stigma. When you say I'm a salesperson, that's what people are thinking of. Oh, great, this person's gonna like sweet talk me into whatever it is. They're gonna manipulate me and this and that. But that's not the truth. I disqualify people right away, and I provide value outside of scope, and that's what all salespeople are starting to do. And that's why marketing is so important for salespeople. Salespeople should learn marketing, vice versa, because we're not all about sales. We're human beings too. We're like, we have feelings, and even though they say like sales are good with rejection, we internalize that stuff. Like, yes, we do have these internal warfares, but we work on it on our own time. Like, we go into our sushi rolls and we're like, okay, emotion, get it out, and then come back, and then happy face, and let's go, let me help you. And that's what salespeople do. Like, the best salespeople come back with a smile on their face, and they do their best to put their emotions aside, to like make you feel good, to help you as much as possible. And marketing, what they need to do, so salespeople, they're constantly talking to thousands of people, right? Like, thousands of prospects every single month, like so much insight, so much wisdom. Marketing people, they talk to 1 to 2 prospects or clients maybe a month at best. So look at that insight. That is the difference right there. Like, if marketing people want to be aligned with salespeople, they just need to like brainstorm together and just say, hey, talk to me about this client. Like, tell me more, like pros and cons. Why did you disqualify them, so that we don't target them for this campaign because you disqualified them, right?
Yeah, well, that's going back to a feedback mechanism coming back from sales. And, that's obviously one of marketing's gripes about sales, that they don't get that information to actually improve anything that they're doing. So
yeah,
that's obviously not your experience, because you've never had issues between sales and marketing, which I think you're maybe unique out there.
Yeah, I honestly don't, because
I'm going to give
again,
you
I over communicate. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you basically, here's my feedback, which is
Oh
great,
yes.
which is great, because that's what marketing do need. They do need the feedback, and vice versa. Going back to the communications and helping to have the best campaign possible. Just very quickly, I'm getting no comments, so I don't know whether the comments isn't working. So apologies if people are commenting and liking or whatever. I can't actually see it. So
yeah, if people are commenting on YouTube, they're like, hey, you're talking to yourself.
again.
I am. This is an experiment, yo.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, maybe you're talking to yourself when you're talking to marketing with your feedback. Hopefully not. Mm-hmm. Hopefully not. So I presume then, since it's all been rosy between your experience of sales and marketing, then you've not heard any complaints from marketing, back to you as part of the sales team.
No complaints. So the last Slack message I got for marketing at Localize is, hey Zen, we updated this feature. Could you change your blog and update it, because we've added a new feature, which is an SRT, I think, and Dev Azure. So if there's one thing maybe that other folks that are experiencing issues, what they can learn is just be friends with folks in sales, and sales be friends with folks in marketing. Like, that's the easiest way to align. Is just there's so much distinction between the two. You have to collaborate. You can't live without the other. you need each other to grow as fast as possible. So
No, I would second that as well because my background is I've done a lot of sport and a lot of team sport, and you don't win games if you don't work together and communicate. And it's the same scenario in business. You should be on the same team.
right, and that feedback loop that you're looking for when you're friends, it doesn't become feedback loop, it just becomes brainstorming. You have the global brainstorming, you're like, oh yeah, this is fun, like tell me more, and it's just like a back and forth versus trying to get that feedback, like give me feedback. Let's just be friends, let's talk about like what's going on, what's up, how do you feel.
Yeah. Do you guys in localized schedule feedback sessions, or do they just happen organically?
Organically. It's organic, seriously, like it's such a great
Zen's
community.
coming.
Probably, yeah. I over communicate. I tell you, I'm like, and I'm over recommend too. I'm like, oh, this is how you do SEO. Oh, and this, and I'm not even an SEO expert. I just my best friend is an SEO guy, so we constantly like challenge each other's paradigm, and I love that. Like
Yeah.
when I learn new things from my best friend, because and he's the host of SEO.video, so you guys should check it out.
How many plugs are you going to get on this show? Oh, here are all the people I've worked for. Here's the SEO guy. I'm joking.
Oh, I'm proud. I'm proud of them. I'm like, I see their growth so much. It's his it was him who pushed me to have a YouTube. Actually didn't even think I could do it, but now I have a YouTube every day, and
Well, you're willing to learn, which is half the battle, I think. Half the battle. So what would your top tips for sales and marketing teams to work together, apart from be friends? Is there any other you give them? Be friends.
oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. I have one message. One message and three tips. Well, the first is salespeople. If you're a salesperson, learn how to market, learn SEO, learn how to rank, like experiment on your own, because marketers, they're scientists. You think that they're creative, and they're I think they got compared, like marketing is like art. I don't think so. Marketing is like science. There's a lot of things happening behind closed doors with metadatas and schemas and all of these cool things that my friend teaches me. And I think that marketers, you should learn how to sell. You should learn how to sell. Connect with your sales folks and just try to understand their process, because salespeople, they're kind of like, they're not scientists, they're like teachers. They teach. That's what they do. They're teaching the product. They're trying to constantly change prospects' paradigm to like learn this product, like that your product is the best. So if they both do that, then you're aligning, like you're aligning the two pretty simply. So
Well,
um
I think that's giving an understanding of each other's, jobs really, providing intelligence about what the other is trying to do, and without that, then there's always going to be a bit of conflict. I would have thought, because you don't understand each other on what each other does or are trying to achieve.
yeah, exactly. You have to understand each other. um the tips to kind of just really share the three tips that's really important. I think the first is create. Both departments, sales and marketing, should create posts on LinkedIn. It doesn't have to be about the product all the time. It can be about who you are, because we get marketed to all the freaking time, like 4,000 to 10,000 advertisements every single day. Oh my God, please stop talking about your product. It's just too much. So, um, we want the opposite. Another thing is, of course, engage. So many people like a post, and I think it's great to like, but engaging, that's like your currency. Liking a post is not enough. If you engage, you comment, you share your wisdom, like we get to really connect, even if it's for just a split second. Like engage, write something, like I want to know your perspective on this hard work or this post that we're posting. And then the final thing is, it's most important. Connecting is not enough. connecting is not enough. Collaborate. Everyone connects on LinkedIn, and I kid you not, I'm like, why are you connecting with me? So many people are connecting. It means nothing now. It's
Yeah.
like this vanity metric. So collaborate. Let's work together.
Well, connections. I think quite a lot of people think these days if people are going to connect, they're going to get sold at straight away, which unfortunately is what a lot of people do. But connections build an audience. So there is value, because obviously commenting on people's posts, etc. You're not guaranteed that someone's going to actually see that content in the future. Although the algorithm, if you basically engage with someone's content, as you know, it's more likely to appear in your feed. But there is value, a lot of value in building an audience, because there's so much more you can do with that. But that's a completely different topic for another day, I think.
That's such a good point, though. I mean, it's such a good point. People need to understand, like, that algorithm. That's really what it's all about, right? Like, if you're just liking and you're posting as well, you're not going to be seen. You're trying to be seen. So how do you get seen? The more activities you provide, then the more you will get seen. So come.
Well, the thing is, if you provide something valuable, then more people like, share, comment on it in a space of time, and then it gets released to further afield of your first connections, and then if they like, share, and comment, it then goes out to people that are beyond your network. So it's the value of content is important, and the speed at which people actually engage with what you're doing. So going back to, if you're providing your audience with valuable content that they actually, as you say, do more than like it, comment on it, then that helps, get more exposure for that bit of content. But as I say, that's another topic for another day. But we're after past, and I know you've got about half an hour. So Zen, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to apologize to the viewers that are on the live, because I don't know why, but I can't see any of your comments. So, I'll after the live, I'll respond to them. And, for those watching the replay, you can ignore that bit, because I'll respond to your comments anyway. So many thanks for your support, for coming along. I hope you've... What's that, sorry?
Oh, thank you for having me.
No, well, thank you for coming. Very, very interesting. I hope, everyone's picked up some useful insights, which including both myself and Zen as well. So next week, we'll be diving into the other side of the story, when my guest will be a marketeer. So we'll get the other side. Maybe they might have some juicy stuff about how sales are terrible. Who knows, Zen?
Can't wait.
Okay. So thank you for joining us, and I'll see you next time.